Hello my dear young friends, welcome to this session. Now we are reading the next part of the story, Tiger in the Tunnel. So far we have seen three people in the previous story. Number one, Tembu. He is a boy of 12 years and he lives in tribal village with his parents and sister. We have already gathered that information. He works in the rice fields with his mother, and whenever he wanted to have the company of his father, he used to go to the station and used to sleep with the father. And Baldev, here he is a night watchman for a railway signal stop, is Khalasi. His job is to keep the signal lamp lit in the night. We have already seen him. And here is lantern, or it is for the signal light. It is, what is the surroundings of the story? It is a dark, motionless, moonless, cold night. Moonless becomes everything is motionless. In the darkness we can't see. Baldev lights his lantern and heads to the station to check the lamp. So with this, he says, whether it is lit or not, whether there is oil or not. He lights the lamp. There was oil. He just lights the lamp and waits for the train to pass the tunnel. While doing so, he was dozing off and waiting for the train, because he was tired, so he was dozing. Yes, now we have got the third part, third section. What is that? Baldev finds himself in a dangerous situation. How does he deal with it? What is that dangerous situation? How Baldev faces it? A low grunt. Now the story starts. The low grunt resounded from the top of the cutting. In a second, Baldev was awake because he was dozing, and that sound at the top of the cutting made him alert. All his senses alert. Only a tiger could emit such a sound, because he was familiar with those wild animals and the dark atmosphere. He could recognize that it is the sound of a tiger. And now there was no shelter for Baldev, but he grasped his axe. You know that axe, very lean and sharp and musically tingling and shining. Grasped his axe firmly and tensed his body. Like that, he prepared himself to face, trying to make out the direction from which the animal was approaching. He was not sure, and he was just trying to know from which direction it is going to come. For some time there was only silence. Silence was there. Even the usual jungle noises seemed to have ceased altogether, as if the minutest noises that we find in the jungle, they had also stopped. Then a thump and the rattle of small stones announced that the tiger had sprung into the cutting, because when he just sprang there in the tunnel and in that cutting of the tunnel, so what happened? The associated stones, were falling, and that was the sound. Now you see how that situation. Baldev, listening as he had never listened before. It was a particularly very horrible sound. Wondered if it was making for the tunnel or the opposite direction, the direction of the hut. He was thinking whether it is coming there or whether it is going to the direction towards that, because that made him tense. Why? In which Stambu would be lying unprotected. So if it goes towards that, and he did not have to wonder for long. Within a minute, before a minute had passed, he made out the huge body of the tiger trotting steadily, jumping. You know, if you have that picture, how it jumps on the prey, like that, brilliant tiger trotting steadily, jumping steadily towards him. Its eyes shone a brilliant green in the light from the signal lamp. So it looked ferocious. Flight was useless. Absolutely there was no way for his flight. He couldn't. For in the dark the tiger would be more sure-footed than Baldev. You know, he knew that it is sure-footed, especially in the dark, and would soon be upon him from behind. So there was no escape for him. So definitely it is going to just trot and jump upon him. Baldev stood with his back to the signal post, motionless, because he was horrified, and he was there, standing, staring at the great brute, the tiger, moving rapidly towards him. That rapidity, it is really very fast. The tiger, used to the ways of men, what did it do? For it had been preying on them for years. How to attack the men, the tiger had caught that knack and idea. Came on fearlessly, and with a quick run and a snarl struck out with its right paw. So with that right paw, he wanted to just expecting to bowl over this puny man, insignificant little man, dared stand in the way. Oh man, you are standing in my way. So it was so ferocious, angry, and it wanted to just put that right paw on him. Baldev, however, was ready, because there was no other go. He couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't run. With a marvelously agile leap, very quick moving leap, avoided the paw when it wanted to just about to fall its right paw on him. He suddenly, with a agile leap, quick leap, he just avoided that. What did he do after that? And paw, and brought his axe down on the animal's shoulder. So here he just had it. It is here, when he said, naturally this foot was also injured, the leg was also injured. Baldev drove his axe, which caught the tiger on the shoulder, almost severing the leg. It had almost. So this way. To make matters worse, the axe remained stuck in the bone, because he was so forceful, that was stuck there in the bone of the tiger, and Baldev was left without a weapon. Now you can imagine what would happen. The tiger, roaring with pain, it was helpless. There was pain. Now sprang upon Baldev, bringing him down and then tearing at his broken body. Tore it, the whole body. It was all over in a sharp few minutes. in a very few minutes, the action was over. The lion had already on Baldev. Baldev was conscious only of a searing pain down his back. Here, it just there was a very severe pain, and then there was blackness, and the night closed in on him forever. Then it was a last sleep for Baldev. Tiger finished the man. And now what happened? Next part of the story. So this is how he was so brave in facing the tiger. In the next, we have got Baldev, the breadwinner of the family. He was the only breadwinner, was dead. Now he is dead, no more. Who took on his responsibilities and how did he tackle them? Yes, the man who came in his charge, how did he tackle the problems? All these details are known to the readers in this section. The tiger, what happened after that? The tiger drew off and sat down, licking his wounded leg. You can imagine, this is how you have to imagine. Whenever you read literature, you must have the sensation, you must have that pictures on your mind's eyes. Did you get the picture? Rearing every now and then with agony. It was full of pain. It was roaring with pain. It was roaring in pain. It was roaring out of that pain because it had stuck in that, the axe had been fixed there, stuck there in its bone. He did not notice the faint rumble that shook the earth, followed by the puffing of an engine steadily climbing, and it was just coming into entering into the tunnel with its sound. How is the sound? So, followed by the distant puffing. In this way, there is this particular sound, and with that sound, engine steadily climbing. The overland mail was coming, was approaching there through the trees beyond the cutting. As the train advanced, the glow of the furnace could be seen because of that light, and showers of sparks fell like Diwali lights over the forest. You have not seen in this steam engine which is run on coal. So there you can find the furnace, and that furnace light was there, spread there while it was moving on the way, and naturally the what they are called, these sparks that were going on that. Perhaps the younger generation may not know, because all now engines are dieselized. So steam engine, if you have seen any of the films, you can understand and appreciate. And it was showers of sparks fell like Diwali lights over the forest. Usually whenever you have the crackers, they go to that height and just explode, and so many stars and so many sparks will be seen like that. Imagine. And as the train entered the cutting, here the engine whistled once. Usually whenever it nearing the station, whenever it is nearing the tunnel, the driver whistles. and loud and piercingly to the ears, very, very loud. The tiger raised his head because it was exactly fallen on this. Raised its head, then slowly got to his feet, as if it was limping, it was wounded. He found himself trapped like the man. Who is the man? Baldev. Like him, it was also trapped, running as fast as his wounded leg would carry him. As far as possible, it was running to save himself from that engine hitting it. And then with a roar and shower of sparks, the train has got its own grandeur. Roar, and shower of sparks. Showers were there, showers of spark. The train entered the Yawning Tunnel. Why Yawning Tunnel? Whenever the tunnel is focused, it is as if it is. If it is so high, and now when you go near that, as if it was yawning. Hey, come on, who is there to enter like that? It looked to the author. A yawning tunnel, the noise in the confined space was deafening. But when the train came out into the open, on the other side, silence returned once more to the forest and the tunnel, and the movement of the train became normal because it was about to stop at the station to water itself, to water for it. Then at the next station, the driver slowed down and stopped his train to water the engine. Usually nowadays, no watering. It was only that steam engine trains, used to have that. He got down to stretch his legs and decided to examine the headlamps. And usually he wanted to see, there was a sound, crackling, something sound. So he just came out and saw if the headlamps are okay. He received the surprise of his life. What is that? For just above the cow catcher, have you seen that train engine? Before that mudguard type, as you find the mudguard to the car, there you find the cow catcher, so that if any animals come, they can push them aside. That is there. And that cow catcher lay the major portion of the tiger. It had carried major portion, half had been there, and major portion of the tiger was being brought by the cow catcher, cut in half by the engine. Because it was cut, one half was there, another half was being towed by the cow catcher of the engine. Now everything was over. The train stopped. It has already stopped. No sound. The driver has come out. What was happening there? There was considerable excitement and conjecture at the station, commotion at the station. But back at the cutting, there was no sound except for the sobs of the boy. Sobs of the boy, except that sound. As he sat beside the dead body of his father, the Tembu was just sitting by the side of his dead father's body. He sat there a long time. He was sitting there only, unafraid of the darkness and guarding the body from jackals and hyenas until the first faint light of the dawn brought with it the arrival of the relief watchman. Now, simply all these arrangements have to be done so quick. And the boy was sobbing, and his mother and sister were there, and he was guarding the dead body of his father so that that dead body should not be carried away by these animals, jackals and hyenas. And he had to wait for the relief watchman to come. And our boy Tembu was sitting by the side of his father's body, sobbing because he had become an orphan. Tembu and his sister and mother were plunged in grief for 2 whole days because the breadwinner is gone. He had life, but life had to go on. With that, the death of Baldev, they can't stop the life. Somehow they have to live, and they have to some living had to be made, and all the responsibility now fell on the little boy Tembu, who was just 12 years old. And there, 3 nights later, he was at the cutting, lighting the signal lamp for the overland mail. So, who was seen there in the place of watchman? So, watchman's son, Tembu, was there. He has to look after the family. He just had the mantle of that job and had it. He sat down in the darkness, wait for the train, and sang softly to himself. Now he is very happy with his way of life. In that way he was just tuning and watching the train and lightening the signal. He was enjoying all these activities. And there was nothing to be afraid of, because his father had killed the tiger, because that was haunting that place, that tiger, and that tiger was killed. The forest gods were pleased, and that was a ahuti for the forest gods, and so they were pleased. And besides, not only that, he had the axe with him, his father's axe, and now he knew how to use it, because it had stuck in the bone, and that later it was removed and was given to his son Tembu, and now he was holding that proud axe and doing his job, and he had no fear of the fearful tiger. Once it was haunting the same place, the whole place. Now, story is ended. So, our hero Baldev is dead, and also the tiger is dead, and story comes to an end. Now, what is the key message of that? And all the stories won't have any message, but here, what is the key message here? What does the author, you remember the author? Yes, what is that? The message of the story is that courage in execution of duty. Duty is very important. Not only it is doing the duty, performing the duty, execution of the duty, and resilience in the face of adversity, remaining calm and quiet in the adverse circumstances. Usually in adverse circumstances, we lose our temper and we shout at everyone. So, they should be very calm and quiet whenever in the face of adversary. They are necessary traits for survival. And the story also celebrates tradition. What is the tradition here? Strength and pride. So, you just think over these three. And here, what is the courage? Baldev, the protector of the family and society at large, is sincere in his work and shows courage in tackling the tiger. Yes. So, courage. The second one, resilience. Tembu, his mother and sister are resilient. They have to accept the whatever that fate had given them, resilient. Though in grief and pain, they also know that life has to go on and get back to reality. This is one you have to care more for the reality. For that you have to be resilient. And these three people were having that quality. And tradition, what is the tradition here? Tembu continues the tradition of working as watchman like his father with pride when you see him in the last. And number 4, strength. Tembu knows that he has the responsibility to his family, and regardless how dangerous his job may be, he will honor that responsibility. That is the indication of the strength. So, this is, and now a small activity after reading this story. What is that? Activity time, I just let all the friends come together and just have that activity, and it is very nice. What is the activity? We have seen how Baldev does his duty fearlessly and sincerely, both two, by keeping the tunnel lit, and he has ensured the safety of all the passengers in the train. That is what you have already seen. Now on this, can you think of other professionals, doctor, teacher, engineer, judge, you take any profession, other professionals who work day and night to ensure our safety. Can you think of any one of them? Go back to your own experiences. See the people around you, beside you. List a few and how they help us. Make a list of that and how he does his job with sincerity and without any fear and without any favor. How do those professionals would help the society? So, you just, there are so many views, and it will be a wonderful activity there amongst you. Now, the most important is what? Evaluation part. So, you should have a look at the questions, and when you look at the questions, and you have to look back at the paragraphs also. Number 1. What made Baldev's job as a signalman dangerous? It is there. And why did Baldev decide to fight with the tiger? Why? Only to exhibit his heroism? You see, just go through again. How did Baldev die? And describe Baldev's fight with the tiger. Though it is only a small paragraph, you can imagine and write. And why did the tiger enter the tunnel? So, because just go back to the story. And what happened to the tiger? Why was there excitement at the station? What was happening at the cutting? And why did Tembu sit by his father's body? Why did Tembu take up his father's job soon after his death? Why? So, you please think, link the ideas and ink them. So, a writing process is a beautiful what? TLI process. Thinking, linking and inking. Do it. And one more assignment is there. So, that is comprehension, that is composition. Write two incidents show the quality to show the quality of responsibility of Baldev and Tembu. Most wild animals avoid human beings. Why did this tiger come straight on Baldev? Reason is there. You have to, yes, it is a compositional work, a slight imagination must be there. Give 3 reasons why Tembu was not afraid of anything. So, he was the chip of the block. Oh, that you have to, yes. And with this assignment, we are coming to an end. Read the textbook again, have those assignments and vigorously, hopefully and taking all interest. Good luck. Thank you.